Donald Trump reportedly got an unusual birthday present when he turned 75 a week ago. His longtime confidant and the chief financial officer of the Trump Organization, Allen Weisselberg, showed up at work at Trump Tower in New York City, according to the Washington Post. New York prosecutors have been investigating the Trump Organization for possible financial crimes. And this month, it was reported that a close colleague of Allen Weisselberg testified in front of the grand jury. So every day that Weisselberg himself goes to work at Trump Tower, as he did on Donald Trump's birthday, could be seen as a signal that he is not going to give in to pressure to cooperate in the investigation of his boss, the former president. Weisselberg has worked for the Trump family for decades, and he knows everything about the family business, according to many accounts. He's not just the, quote, money man, said a prosecutor who headed the fraud investigation of Trump University. He ran the whole company. He was the whole enchilada. So if you're not into enchiladas, I prefer tacos, you could describe Weisselberg's role in musical terms.
I mean, I think he's the one he's the maestro. I think he's the one that has orchestrated, he's at the apex of it. I think that, I don't fully believe that Donald knows the ins and outs, not of what's going on. He would absolutely be fine with whatever would save him money on his tests to benefit him. But Allen is the one that has orchestrated all of it.
That was Weisselberg's former daughter-in-law, who is cooperating with New York prosecutors. And so the Trump family soap opera continues. Will Allen Weisselberg turn on his boss, or could Trump and his family try to blame everything on Weisselberg? That's the prediction from former Trump associate Stephanie Winston Wolkoff. She worked for the First Lady in the White House, and she also helped manage the inauguration. And she used to be a friend of Melania Trump.
This family is going to pretend that it all had to do with Allen, and that Allen was in charge of everything, and Allen was responsible, and they're all going to flip against Allen. And so everyone needs to realize that eventually they all do flip against you, regardless of who you are or what you mean to them, because you mean nothing to them.
If her prediction comes true, this Trump family drama is just getting started, and I am so excited to be joined by Glenn Kirshner, a former federal prosecutor and an MSNBC legal analyst, because I was like, whoo, this is getting delicious, but only in the sense that I believe in full accountability for potentially criminal action. So Glenn, what's your reaction to the news that Weisselberg is apparently staying loyal to Donald Trump and not cooperating yet with prosecutors?
Yeah, so a couple of things come to mind, Zerlina. First of all, it's an extraordinarily foolish move. If Allen Weisselberg believes that Donald Trump will not flip on him, will not implicate him for any and all financial crimes that the Trump Organization may have committed. But, you know, there's more than one way to develop a cooperating witness. And if at the moment Allen Weisselberg is standing by his man, Donald Trump, you know how the New York District Attorney can get his attention? Indict him in a joint conspiracy indictment with all of the other potential defendants, including the biggest fish, Donald Trump. I will tell you, Zerlina, nothing quite catches the attention of somebody like an Allen Weisselberg, who is not the big fish, who is not the kingpin, as seeing his name sort of as a marquee defendant indicted together with other members of the Trump Organization in the event Cy Vance has the goods to indict a large conspiracy. And here's the thing. When a grand jury hands down a conspiracy indictment, often there will be lots of co-conspirators indicted. Hypothetically speaking, let's say that the grand jury indicts 10 co-conspirators. What I can promise you, and I've seen this happen time and time again, is by the time that case is in trial, months later, it will be whittled down to maybe 4 conspirators, maybe 2 conspirators, maybe only the big fish himself. Why? Because once somebody sees his or her name concretely in an indictment as a co-conspirator, it catches their attention, and then they are more inclined to plead guilty and flip against the bigger fish. So eventually, I do think Allen Weisselberg will wise up and will get on board with the prosecutors.
So I want to sort of drill in on that point, because I think folks, probably from Law and Order, I guess, or The Sopranos. I don't know what shows people watch, but they probably have some idea that in order for Alan Weisselberg to flip on Donald Trump, let's say that's the scenario, that has to happen before any indictments are filed. And so what you're explaining is that indictments could come first and be a conspiracy charge of a whole bunch of different people. And then as a result of that, then you may see some people flipping on others upwards towards the big fish.
Exactly, Zerlina. There are multiple ways to develop a cooperating witness. We had a case in Washington, D.C., large RICO case, where we indicted a whole bunch of dozens of defendants together. And there was one person in particular that we really wanted to flip, but he would not agree to cooperate. You know what we did? After we indicted him, we pulled his case out of the larger RICO conspiracy, and we tried him what we call in a standalone case by himself. We got him convicted. Then he saw the light. He came on board as a cooperator. He still got some benefit for cooperating, not as much as he would have gotten had he cooperated up front. But there are so many different ways to develop a cooperating witness. It's not all or nothing at the time of the indictment.
It's really important to understand. So I was surprised, actually, by what Stephanie Winston Wilcox said. I don't know why I was surprised, but maybe it hadn't occurred to me that Donald Trump could blame all of this on Alan Weisselberg. He is the money man. We keep talking about he knows where all the proverbial financial crimes are buried, allegedly. But is it possible Donald Trump could be like, well, I don't know anything about accounting? Could he do that? Will that work?
You know, he can do it and it won't work. And here's why. Think about this. Let's assume the New York DA wants but doesn't need Weisselberg's cooperation to bring criminal charges. So instead, Cy Vance's prosecutors indict everybody from the Trump organization who they can prove committed a crime. Then you could potentially have Alan Weisselberg sitting shoulder to shoulder in trial as a defendant with Donald Trump. And Donald Trump pointing the finger at Weisselberg saying, it wasn't me, it was my chief financial officer. There's a term for that in the law. It's called the second prosecutor problem. And let me tell you, irreconcilable defenses where one defendant tries to put it on another defendant, point the finger at, implicate another defendant, is generally not a good reason to break those defendants apart and try them separately, to sever them. So I have to tell you, I've been in this circumstance where one co-defendant in a joint trial, a conspiracy trial, starts pointing the finger at the other. And I just kind of sit back and I watch the show because it ordinarily doesn't end well for either defendant.
Listen, whenever there's an indictment and my name is on the paper, that's not a good moment. That's just not the moment I want to be in. Please don't leave. Don't go anywhere. I hope you don't have any plans, Glenn. Sorry to put you on the spot, but we may need you back within the hour, so stay close to your phone, please. Glenn Kirshner, thank you as always. Hi, I'm Zerlina Maxwell. Thanks for checking out our channel on YouTube. You can see more from Zerlina by clicking any of the videos on this screen, and make sure you subscribe below to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. Thanks for watching.